Welcome back to the preview show. I'm Casey Campbell, and that's Nathan Solomon, the managing editor of the Podium Finish. How was New Hampshire, Nathan?
It was very good. It's good to be back at home for a couple of days, though. It was a great weekend up in New Hampshire, short weekend. A lot of driving, but it was absolutely worth it.
Yes, and back to the track you go this weekend.
I know, it's exciting. All four series will be at
Yes,
at Pocono, including Casey's favorite series, the Arca series.
yes.
But no, it should be good though. I mean, I think Arca put on a really good show there last year. Truck series season finale, that's always a big deal. Excited to cover that for the second straight year. Last year's at Watkins Glen, of course. And then Xfinity this time of year, for whatever, well, not really for whatever reason, but it's around this time of year where Xfinity really starts to ramp up and get to be very, very exciting. And then obviously Cup, there's so much going on right there in that series right now with 14 winners and 6 races to go in the regular season. There's a lot could still happen there.
There's a lot that's going on right now in terms of silly season next year, blah, 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 blah. And there's tons of storylines in all the series, and we're going to try to cover it as much as we can here tonight. Let's start off with the big announcement this week. The Chicago Street Course is a thing. Next year, they will be going to the streets of Chicago, taking it to the streets. Actually, that's a song. But they'll be taking it to the streets in Chicago on July 4th weekend next year. Road America will not be on the schedule next year, but you never know, could come back. Street course racing, what do you think?
I have mixed feelings about it because I think that this street course race could have kind of a similar impact that the LA Clash did.
Yeah.
Get new fans involved in I don't want to say a new market, but maybe not their strongest market. Like the city of Chicago is kind of in the same boat as LA of like,
right,
probably not their strongest market. That's certainly one that they want to strengthen, and no better way to strengthen that market by putting a race right in the middle of the city. So I think a lot of people are going to go to that event, and NASCAR is going to do a really good job of promoting it and making it a big deal. So I think it'll be good in that regard. The on-track product, I'm not really so sure about. NASCAR's with this next gen car, kind of the Achilles heel has been flat track racing. Even though that, like Loudon was a good race, Gateway was a pretty good race. But kind of short tracks have been the Achilles heel a little bit. And I don't think the Chicago Street Course is necessarily going to be the fastest track in the world. And honestly, I don't think the first couple of road course races have been overwhelmingly great either. I think NASCAR is going to tweak the package and make it a little bit better for next year. But I'm a little skeptical about the on-track product. However, in terms of the Road America news, Road America certainly has its flaws. Like, it's a very big racetrack. Like, cautions are like 15-minute cautions.
Absolutely.
And like, you're looking at a race with 15 caution laps. Well, that's only 45 laps of actual racing. So, a lot of fans have gone to that race too. It's certainly not the most spectator friendly. It's certainly not the most TV friendly event either. Overall, I'm kind of torn on this. Like, part of me thinks it's a great idea. Part of me doesn't love it either. But I give NASCAR credit though for trying something new. Hopefully it sticks. Hopefully it works, and hopefully they continue to make a big deal of this event every year, and there's a good product on track.
Yeah, that is priority number one with this event. And actually, it is only the third. The Chicago is the third largest media market, so we'll have to see how that one goes. The interesting dilemma continues. Kyle Busch. There's obviously, who knows what's going to happen there. I know there's some pieces coming out about this. I know Dustin Long put out something last night with Dustin Long from NBC Sports about the situation regarding Kyle Busch. He talked to David Wilson. I know there's a lot of that's in there, and we're in July. I know deals come in late. August, September is really when a lot of plans for next year get announced, and I know some have already been announced already, including one that's going to be in 2024. But as this continues to go on, and I know you got a chance to ask Kyle a lot of this stuff last week, and you'll probably ask it again this week, what's going to happen, you think? Because every week we continue to go on, it's another week that a deal's still not in place.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody kind of just assume that, they'll work something out, right? Kyle will, of course, return to Toyota, will, of course, return to Joe Gibbs Racing, but for whatever reason, the last 7 to 10 days, that urgency to get a deal done has kind of seemed to ramp up a little bit more. Kyle said over the weekend, I feel like I have a seat in that car until I'm told otherwise. I believe it was a Dustin Long article that said that they had something in place at one point, but it fell through. It was definitely a little concerning to see a driver with that big of a profile have trouble getting sponsorship here for 36 races. Something that he's probably never really seen in his career before. Obviously, losing Kyle Busch for Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing would have massive ripple down effects with TRD and of course the truck team. There's a couple open spots available, and there's the number 10 seat in Stuart Haas Racing. There's the 42 seat for Petty GMS. Potentially the 8 seat if there's a buyout with Tyler Reddick, which I don't really see that happening. But I don't know. I think, like I said, I think the urgency's kind of picked up big time the last 7 or 10 days, really, since the Reddick deal of like, okay, this deal could happen for 2024. So that's kind of a piece to the puzzle here. Kind of look at Kyle Busch of like, hey, when are we going to get this done? I think Kyle wants to obviously get it done. I think he obviously wants to stay at Joe Gibbs Racing, but they just haven't had that big company step forward and get the deal done where they can have kind of someone on board there for an extended number of races. So I'd like to hopefully see that they get that deal done sooner rather than later. I don't know how long it'll take though.
Yeah, it's definitely there. We'll obviously keep you updated as that process rolls along. You did mention Ty Dillon. Of course, we haven't had a chance to react to this yet, but Ty Dillon and Petty GMS announced on Friday that they would be parting ways after this season. And a lot of speculation, including some of the people that I've talked to. The name that obviously everyone's talking about, that Noah Gragson is the leading candidate to get that 42 ride next year. And obviously there could be some other names of, talking about there. There were reports out that Parker Kligerman was talking to some Cup and Xfinity teams. So, but that's an interesting thing because way before it was Petty GMS, remember when it was GMS Racing and the 94 car, when GMS was going in, and this was before they merged with what was then Richard Petty Motorsports, Ty Dillon was the guy. And it just didn't work out. It's more, and this is just, it was a mutual agreement. Personally, I just think it was just a race team. Just that was more Petty GMS telling maybe Ty Dillon, maybe it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, with all due respect to Ty, I mean he really seemed to struggle in that car. I think you look at Eric Jones, he was consistently running top 15, top 20. Ty Dillon was not really at that same level as Eric Jones for the most part. He showed that they have a lot of speed. Ty Dillon, he was the 25th place car a lot of the time, when Eric Jones was maybe a 10th or 15th place car. So obviously a lot of this, there's a difference there. So they obviously felt it was best for them to move on. And yeah, there's certainly talent they're looking at, whether it's current Xfinity drivers, or other drivers, other Cup drivers. But Eric Jones suggested though that in the bullpen Saturday that it's probably going to be an Xfinity Series driver, or it's going to be a Cup Series rookie. So I think that kind of points the arrow a little bit towards Noah Gragson. And when you kind of look at the talent in the Xfinity Series right now, I mean, Gragson's really, he's really the guy that is the most Cup ready of those Xfinity drivers right now that's really looking for an Xfinity ride. Like, I think obviously right now you have some of your more quote unquote Xfinity lifers that are in that series right now. But I think that the next closest would probably be Ty Gibbs, and obviously he's binded to Toyota and is certainly not going to be racing for anyone outside of his grandfather anytime soon. But Noah Gragson is definitely the most ready in terms of his skill. Now, hopefully he can he's in terms of his maturity, hopefully he's ready to be a Cup Series driver. Obviously, the Road America ordeal a couple weeks ago, like you'll get crucified if that happens in the Cup Series. So, if he can keep his head on straight, which I think he can, he has gotten better, but there's still been some isolated incidents of late. If he can continue to improve with that in that regard, I think he can have a lot of success at Petty GMS and go out and win races. And I think him and Eric Jones could be a really good teammate duo. I mean, Noah's old Xfinity crew chief, Dave Ellens, is currently Eric Jones's crew chief in Cup. So if they sign Noah Gragson, it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of swapped around crew chiefs a little bit and Ellens and Gragson paired up again. And I think they could do a lot of damage at Cup together.
They could. So be interesting to watch, and we'll keep you updated on if that happens again. So let's get to some of the action this weekend at Pocono. I kind of want to spend a little bit of time on this one thing, and then we'll get into picks. The Truck Series will be, it is the regular season finale. Hard to believe we're talking about, playoff. Well, we were always talking about playoffs, but we got a cutoff race, the first of 3 cutoff races that are going to happen this weekend. Of course, the regular season Cup finale is, Daytona, and then of course Bristol is the Xfinity cutoff race. But this one's pretty tight because you got Grannon. I think the first 8 are in. So you got John Hunter Nemechek, Stuart Friesen, Chandler Smith, Zane Smith, Ben Rhodes, Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, and Carson Hocevar. They're all in. I think I got them all. And then Grant Enfinger, Matt Kraftner are currently holding the 9th and 10th place spot. Now, I did do a little bit of research, and thanks to my good friend Joseph Strigley for helping me crunch the numbers. Derek Kraus is the only driver that can point his way in. He is currently, I believe, 19 below the cut line, so he's the only driver that can point his way in. Tyler Ankrum mathematically can, but it's very unlikely that he will. So guys like Matt DiBenedetto, Tanner Gray, Timmy Hill, Colby Howard, those guys are going to need a win because you have to be tied for 20th in the standings to get it. So it's definitely going to be interesting going on down the line. And if you look at farther back, guys like Lawless Allen, Dean Thompson, Chris Wright, Haley Deegan, I'm trying to think of who else would be in that category. Spencer Boyd, and Jack Wood. They need to win. They also need some help too. So all those guys that I named are all eligible to get in the playoffs. They've ran every race this year. So there is that.
I think there's certainly a lot that can happen in that race on Saturday. Like I think if you look at it right now, like if you look at the standings right now, it doesn't look particularly close. Like Matt Crafton has a 19-point lead over Derek Kraus right now. But what happens if Matt Crafton gets in trouble or crashes or something? I mean, if Matt basically if they don't have a new winner, or if someone like Ryan Preece wins, someone who's not earning points, if Matt Crafton gets in trouble and crashes, or let's say, or DNF to put it better, really in that scenario, Derek Kraus would basically only have to finish the race to get in. Matt Crafton does not fully control his own destiny, but in terms of pointing his way in, he does. As long as there's not a new winner, if he finishes top 5, he's going to be in. If he finishes 15th, he's going to be in. Again, as long as there's not a new winner. If there is a new winner, that's when things get interesting. Then there's obviously, if there's a new winner, then there's scenarios that, Grant Enfinger could possibly get out if he has a DNF. But it wouldn't surprise me to see someone like Matt DiBenedetto or Tanner Gray or even Tyler Ankrum in the mix for a victory, if I remember correctly. I think Tyler Ankrum has one of his best runs of the season last year at Pocono. So I believe that's a pretty good track for him. I think he could be up in the mix. you mentioned a couple of drivers outside the top 20. Haley Deegan, Lawless Allen, obviously they're going to be kind of be throwing Hail Marys. They're not far outside the top 20 at all. Like they're only like 5 or 7 points out. So a win should put them in theory, without having to really get a whole lot of help. An interesting factor with that, though, could obviously be Ryan Preece, because he's technically 19th in points, so he's not playoff eligible. If since you need to be top 20, that's a playoff spot, and same as Parker Kligerman, even though he's not racing. But yeah, they're right now. Like I said, if you look at it right now, it does not look close. But if something happens, like a Matt Crafton DNF, or we get a first-time winner this season that's not, already in the playoffs, like a Ty Majeski or Christian Eckes or Carson Hocevar, or even Enfinger or Crafton, then the playoff picture could definitely get a lot more chaotic in the Truck Series. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely be there. And was actually, it's Lawless Allen's 5 back and Deegan's only 7 back. So if they pick up points and pick up positions and they're running up front, realistically they can have a shot at doing it. They just need to win and be in the top 20 in points at the end of the day. So it's going to be harder for guys like Dean Thompson, Jack Wood, Spencer Boyd, and Chris Wright. But anything can and usually happen. I mean, it's the Truck Series, so we'll have to see on that. And of course, this is your second straight cutoff race, because you were at Watkins Glen last year, covering the cutoff race there. So definitely for sure, it's going to be quite interesting, for that to get in the playoffs. And here's the other thing, though. When was the last time Hattori missed the playoffs?
Been a while.
Yes, that's going to be something to watch too, because Hattori's made the playoffs, I think, the last, I want to say 5 years. So they got 2 trucks. Chase Purdy, another one. He's also in must-win territory as well. So he's top 20 in points. So if he gets a win, he's in. So it's definitely gonna be interesting for that organization as well to see if they can try to get in. All right, and also that race is gonna be on Big Fox at high noon. It's gonna have a fun day at the racetrack on Saturday.
Sure.
Lots of stuff going on that day. And also, one more thing about the truck race. Someone's racing 800 races. Todd Bodine. Talked to Todd on Friday. I actually talked to Todd today, and you'll be talking to him on Friday. But 800 starts, he told me, is probably likely his last, NASCAR sanctioned start. And I know he's not. He told me he doesn't want to be ended. He wants to still keep racing, maybe some local stuff. Some mod, maybe SRX. But what do you think about Todd Bodine? Of course, you two have something in common. You're both from New York.
We are both from New York. We're both kind of from the southern tier. Excited to be there for probably his last NASCAR race. I know for the most part he hasn't maybe necessarily had some of the runs that he's wanted in that 62 truck, but I'd love for him to go out on a good foot. It'd be great for him to get a top 10 in that race. Obviously, it's kind of a home race for him, so that's a pretty big deal in that sense. It's definitely been a lot of fun to watch him back in that truck this year. It's kind of giving me some throwback vibes from like 10 years ago, but hopefully he'll do really well and his career and his NASCAR touring career strong.
Yeah, and of course you can go check out on my channel the interview I did with Todd Bodine, and I want to thank his wife Janet for setting that interview up and setting the last few interviews up with him. So really, really appreciate that. It was always a good time talking to the Onion. All right, time for picks. You know what? It's going to be a fun one, and you kind of got yourself caught back up there in the standings, there, buddy. Only 70 points out of the lead. So we'll have to see how that goes. Another solid weekend for Team Nathan, that is for sure. All right, let's start with the Arca race. Yes, we are picking Arca. So 28 cars in that race. Who you got? Because you're covering the race this weekend.
I am covering it. Hard not to pick this guy. He's had tremendous speed in the races he's done this year. I'll go Brandon Jones. He's back in that car in the I believe it's an 81 car. For that race, he's had more speed than anyone else. He's by far the favorite to win that race. I think he will. But keep a lookout for the Rev guys too. They've had some good speed all year, good consistent speed. I like to think they'll be in the mix as well.
Yeah, that championship battle between Nick Sanchez, Raja Karuth, and Daniel Dye has been intense. Speaking of Nick Sanchez, some news came out about him today. He'll actually be racing 4 races for Big Machine Racing later this year. So it'll be a great opportunity there. And tomorrow I get to talk to Patrick Donahue about that and some more stuff about Big Machine. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'm going to go with Brandon Jones as well. It's he's won the 2 ARCA races that he's been in. He'll probably win the 5 that he's going to do this year. So give me the 81. All right, start with the trucks. Big Fox at noon on Saturday. Big noon Saturday. Hey, that's something. It's a college football thing. Big shout out to my good buddy Gus Johnson. Of course, he'll be excited for that. College football only a few months away. But who you got for the race on Big Noon Saturday?
Yeah, so this guy's been pretty strong in his limited races this year, and not a full-time schedule, but I believe he's one of only 2 multiple time winners in the truck series this season. Going with the number 51 of Corey Heim.
It is Heim time. So I was thinking about who I should pick this weekend. You know what? I think this is a team that's kind of not done as well this year. I feel like they're going to get a win. GMS is going to win for the first time this week and give me Grant Enfinger in the 23. So that'll be hopefully a big win for him. I know that team's been so close. Jeff Hensley was back with him first time in Mid-Ohio. Got a chance to talk to Jeff and Grant last race at Mid-Ohio. So I know that those 2 are excited to be back together again. So 23 is going to victory lane. You're welcome, GMS. Xfinity, lots of stuff going on there. More on that a little later. But who you got there, bud?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Toyotas here. Brandon Jones, he's had a pretty good season. He's had a little bit more consistency than he's had in years past. Obviously, got a big win at Martinsville a little bit earlier in the year, but I think he adds to that number and turns that one in the win column to a 2 with a win at Pocono on Saturday.
Yeah, you mentioned 1. You know what that means? I'm going to take the 1 car, Sam Mayer. By the way, who you'll be talking to on Saturday, so excited to see that. Don't know if I was supposed to say that, but whatever. It's my show. All right, we got the Cup race, the M&M's 400, big weekend for M&M's as well. I know that a lot of Kyle Busch super fans and M&M's fans are going to be part of the festivities on Sunday. I know that talking with Ben May, the track president, it's a big weekend, of course, celebrating 32 years in NASCAR. Of course, their chapter will come to a close at the end of this season. Who you got for that big Cup race there, buddy?
I'm going to have to stick with the theme of Sunday. This driver is very good at that racetrack, won the 2nd race of the doubleheader last year in just 4th gear. Mr. Kyle Busch, for whatever reason, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, Kyle Busch, they just seem to have crazy speed there. Kyle has been wicked good there his entire career. Especially in the last 5 years. So I'm going to go Kyle Busch to get it done on Sunday, notch his 3rd win of the year, right?
No, 2nd.
2nd win of the year. 2nd win of the year. I'm all confused.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm going to go with Denny. Feel like the 11 team needs a win, and I think they would be a good win for old Dennis Hamlin at Pocono. So, all right, give me the 11 team. All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the preview show. Tune in next week when we'll talk all about Indy Road Course. And by the way, have fun at the racetrack, Nathan. What's coming up on the podium finish?
Well, you spoiled a lot of my stuff.
Because I can.
So I don't know, a lot of race coverage, some features, I was gonna surprise some interviews until Casey spoiled them, but it is
I
what it
try.
is.
Okay. All right. All
Stay
right.
tuned though.
I didn't say all of who you're going to talk to, and you never know, stuff could pop up. All right, we'll catch you next week as we talk all about Indy Road Course.